Isle of Wight is an island for all seasons situated between the Solent and the English Channel on the southern coast of England. The quickest public transport link to the island is the hovercraft. Just take 10 minutes to cross the Solent. Ferry operators sailing each day to Yarmouth in the west, Ryde and Fishbourne in the east. 3 vehicle ferries and 2 catamaran services cross the Solent from Portsmouth and Southampton, Lymington. Carisbrooke Castle in Newport at the heart of the Isle of Wight has been an artillery, fortress, king's prison and a royal residence. The most important stronghold on the Isle of Wight from the Saxon times. It has a history that goes back to the 11th century when it was built as part of the Norman conquest. The twin-towered gatehouse entrance to the castle. Erected by Lord Scales, who was lord of the castle at the time in 1464. The Great Hall and Constable's Lodging. The castle was frequently updated over the centuries. The castle also served as a residence for the lords and governors of the Isle of Wight. It was transformed into a state-of-the-art artillery in Elizabeth I's reign. The guardhouse. Isabella's window. Countess Isabella de Fortibus was one of the richest and powerful 13th-century landholders in England. In 1262 she chose to make her home at Carisbrooke. She transformed the castle to a comfortable suite of rooms including a great hall, private chambers, and the chapel of St. Peter. This window once gave light into the Countess's private quarters. It was glazed with colored glass, and built into the window was stone seats to enjoy views across her estate to the sea. During the English Civil War, Carisbrooke Castle was in the hands of the parliamentarians who used it as a prison. King Charles I was imprisoned here in 1647–8. He made 2 escape attempts in 1648 before being moved to the mainland. He was executed in the following year after a host of unsuccessful attempts at negotiation with Parliament. Out of the box, the collection of Carisbrooke Castle Museum. This museum occupies the Great Hall and Governor's Quarters. A replica of the Carisbrooke Castle. Over 27,000 objects displayed are related to the castle's history and the local history of the area. A 13th-century leather hat. Beatrice's birthday gift, a 17th-century chamber organ.
Celebrating 100 years of Carisbrooke Women's Institute.
The Ashburnham relics of King Charles I. A recreation of King Charles I's bedroom. Princess Beatrice used it as a dining room. It is now home to Charles I's bed as well as Princess Beatrice's large collection of stag and antelope heads. The Chapel of St. Nicholas in Castro. The chapel is located next to the main gate. The chapel dates to the 13th century, but it was completely rebuilt in 1899 to commemorate the 250th anniversary of Charles I's death in 1649. Rebuilt in 1904 to the memory of King Charles, first incorporating 13th century masonry, redecorated in 1929 as the Island War Memorial. King Charles I's death warrant. It later became a memorial to those who died in World War I, including Princess Beatrice's son Maurice, who died in 1914. A large bust of King Charles I and a monument to the dead soldiers. Princess Beatrice Garden. In 1896, Princess Beatrice, youngest daughter of Queen Victoria, was made governor of the Isle of Wight. The princess made the castle her summer home after 1914 until 1938. The statue of Jack Seeley and his horse warrior. Warrior the Warhorse. John Edward Bernard Seeley, also known as Jack Seeley, 1868 to 1947. A British Army general and politician. He was Secretary of State for War for the 2 years prior to the First World War. He was a Conservative Member of Parliament from 1900 to 1904. A Liberal MP from 1904 to 1922 and from 1923 to 1924. Warrior went to war on the Western Front with General Jack Seeley in 1914 and survived all imaginable disasters. Last defense. In the center of Carisbrooke was the motte, a high mound of earth crowned by a shell keep. It overlooked the walled bailey containing the main buildings of the castle. The keep was intended as the final refuge for defenders in case of attack. 71 steps lead up to the keep. Climbing to the top of the motte provide panoramic views over the site and out across the wider Isle of Wight. The bowling green. Soldiers used the flat space for parades and drilling. Most famously, it was used by King Charles I to play bowls during his imprisonment at Carisbrooke. Highlight of Carisbrooke Castle is the Norman Keep and Wall Walk. In the center of the castle enclosure are the domestic buildings. These are mostly of the 13th century. Some are in ruins. Wonderful views in all directions. The castle is located above, and to the south of, Carisbrooke village centre. the donkey wheel and the Tudor well house. The wellhead building was erected in the Tudor period, but the well itself and the donkey-powered mechanism are much older. Water is drawn from 161-foot deep wheel by donkeys walking on a large wooden treadmill. The treadmill is tied by a system of gears and pulleys to a rope attached to a bucket. The bucket is lowered into the well, then as the donkeys walk steadily on the inner face of treadmill, the full bucket is drawn up to the surface. Carisbrooke Castle is managed by English Heritage and is open to the public for most of the year. Please subscribe to this channel to watch more English Heritage Site videos.